Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and here is today's comic flash forward. Issue number 1 of a 6-part miniseries by Scott Lobdell and Brett Booth. And joining me today, as always, is Stan the... You're not Stan the man. You're Forky. What are you doing? Where's Stan? Stan, what are you doing over here? Did you guys switch places? Oh, man. It's kind of like Flash. He's switched places. But you know who hasn't switched places? There's Dog. That's Luke the dog. He's always got to get in the camera. He just loves to photobomb. Every time I start a video, he's just like, hey, I want to get in on the action. From the pages of Heroes in Crisis, possibly the worst miniseries that has ever been concocted by the Major 2, we get Flash Forward, the Heroes in Crisis, if you don't recall, or didn't watch, or you're new to comics, or you've been living under a rock, or for some reason you didn't follow my videos. Heroes in Crisis was this miniseries that basically existed to turn Wally West, the hope of the DC Universe, the symbol of hope, the guy who kicked off Rebirth, that DC Universe Rebirth #1 issue that launched the whole DC Universe that we loved. You know, back in the day, it was only a couple years ago, 2016, when DC was actually ahead of Marvel in terms of market share because they were doing such great things. Wally West, one of the best single issues of a comic. Excuse me, got this like suppressing a burp. You remember that? I remember it. It was great. And then the geniuses over at DC, led by Dan Didio, the doofus in chief, he decided he was going to do this Heroes in Crisis story that really wasn't about Heroes in Crisis. It was about this guy murdering his friends and then framing the remainder of his friends that were left. And yeah, it is unfathomable how you could produce such a story. I'm at a loss for words even now, even though it's been all this time. So here we are. We have this flash forward storyline that Lobdell and Booth, I guess, have been planning. They wanted to do, and you know, in my mind, I have an idea of how you could easily just let the story of Heroes in Crisis work on its own, everything, and it would fit, and we would still have our hero Wally West. Let's see if Scott Lobdell found a way. Who cares? All right, moving on. Darkness, eternal, malevolent, all-encompassing darkness. I am Tempest Fujinat. I am one of many. I have been sentient since before the first universe drew its first breath. I have witnessed stars give birth to trillions of people on millions of planets, only to watch them eventually wither and pass, as all things must. I have celebrated order and endured chaos, but never have I seen anything like this. Bunch of black balls. I guess she's never seen black balls. I think it's a she. Could be a he. I can't tell. Since before time and gravity and love and hope, Fusionauts have had but a singular sacred task: to ensure the integrity of the space between all the worlds of the multiverse. We have gone to war when we had to. Other times we've repaired the damage with a single stitch. But this is something we've never faced, something none of us dared imagine until today. For every good thought in existence, every act of kindness, a dark and twisted opposite exists. In those moments, a dark universe is created. This dark multiverse is forever destined for decay. But now, an anomaly beyond reckoning prevents the timeless forces of entropy from destroying these abhorrent alternate realities. With nowhere to fall, the dark multiverse is rising. It's a vile toxicity, an all-encompassing despair bleeding outward onto healthy worlds, eroding the barriers that separate dark and light. Pure, concentrated evil erupting to the 52 known universes. I am used to unsavory tasks in defense of the multiversal barrier, but containing a catastrophe such as this is unprecedented. It is against every commandment of the Fujinauts to reach out to another, but not the first rule I have ever broken. May all that ever was or all that will be have mercy on my soul. The multiverse needs a hero, even if he might be the last person anyone would dare expect. And then we flash back to the Sanctuary from Heroes in Crisis, where Wally is talking to his buddy Arsenal, who is still alive at this point. They're talking about spoiled milk, blah, 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 blah. And then we cut over to Wally West, he's just kind of thinking. My name is Wally West. Had a brain moment there, my phone going off in the middle of my recording. If you don't get that, it's an inside joke. Breen will get it. That's the key. Right, Breen? Anyways, I put my phone into airplane mode, which I should do. You can't always do that, though, because sometimes you need to be reached. My name is Wally West. I'm the loneliest person alive, or the man alive. I have only myself to blame. Oh, good Lord. The loneliest man alive. No, you're not the loneliest man alive. You stupid. This is the lingering bullshit that is left over from Tom King's absolute depression that he's going. He's got to be. I don't know what's going on in this man's life, but he is writing some of the most... It's not even like... back when I was young, there used to be this sort of goth crowd. I think everyone has this, right? We called it the goth crowd. As I got older... the next generation, they call them the emos and stuff like that. That group of people that are just constantly oh, I just dream of death and my life is so miserable. But they kind of make a lifestyle out of it. Tom King reminds me of one of these people, at least from his writing. And this is not Tom King, but this is Scott Lobdell doing what a comic professional does, and they build off of the continuity, right? So I don't blame Scott for writing this way. I blame Tom King because Tom King now put the ball in motion for Scott to do this. It's not the loneliest man alive. Dude, he's got friends that most of us would only ever dream of having. Imagine this. Imagine your friend is Superman. You're literally friends with Superman. He's your buddy. You have his phone number. Batman, Wonder Woman, right? All the Titans. Yes, you lost your wife. There are billions of people on the planet that have lost people. And I understand loneliness. I'm not going to go into my own private life, but I don't think Tom King really does. Right? I think he's going through some shit, and I think he's projecting things into the page, and I think he doesn't understand. And I think a lot of real lonely people would be offended to read this nonsense. I don't mean Scott Lobdell's nonsense. I mean just the overall nonsense of oh, Wally West, the symbol of hope. Oh, he dismisses his wife and kids, and he's just so lonely, and he can't talk to anyone. And oh, woe's me. God, you can't. And I hate this term. I don't believe in it, but I'm just going to use it for the sake of argument. You can't illustrate white privilege enough. This is stupid, right? Get over it. You actually do have friends, right? Your wife is actually still out there. She's not dead. She just doesn't remember you because you were lost in time. But maybe life doesn't have to be that way. So we see Wally's in jail. And this is called Flash Forward. Chapter 1, Incursion Point 0. Here's the credits. All right, moving on. He's at Blackgate because the other prison, blah, blah, okay. And the bad guys who they hate him because he's a good guy. Okay, so they want to get him. But then this other bad guy stops one of the other bad guys because, not because he's doing him any favors, but because he wants to see Wally West suffer. So, don't you put him out of his misery. You keep him in, that's, okay. This is all normal. And so he gets a visitor. He's like, who could it be? I told the Justice League of the Titans I didn't want to see anyone. No. Hello, Wally. Linda Park. Another time, another reality. You came. She was my wife. Okay, so remember, the loneliest man alive. Why? Because she doesn't remember you. Why? Because you were lost in time. So you're so deeply upset. The one thing in the world that is causing your biggest heartache, other than maybe your kids, is this woman, and she's here for you. She doesn't remember, but she's here for you. And what does he do? He leaves. That's me slapping my head. No. So we cut over to the interlude where some Thanagarian guy, somewhere in the cusp of the multiverse, too slow by half, zack, 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 zack. So this is like an Indiana Jones thing. He's in, nothing will keep me from my bounty. Tarkul of Edya 12 is the treasure hunter of galactic renown, blah, 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 blah. And he finds the Mobius chair. And he talks about, only the strongest souls and most agile minds can hope to sit upon this throne of all knowledge. Weaker creatures have been obliterated by the tsunami of cosmic truth, but I have no fear of functioning as a vessel for... And he's dead. So I was like, nice. So it goes as it has so many times before. Tarkul was one of the countless before him, smitten by hubris, blah, 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 blah. No one owns the chair owns you. Okay, end of interlude. Okay, whatever that was all about. Meanwhile, back at Blackgate. Night or day, they are there, memories, framing innocent people for my mistakes. My time in Sanctuary was supposed to help me, heal me, but instead, it broke me. I was ready to put my money where my mouth was, killing a future version of myself to establish an alibi. How crazy was it that all this made sense at the time? Yeah, it is crazy. It doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because you're being written by a god who is crazier than you are. He's lost everything. And now Lobdell is having to try to pick up the pieces of this broken character that he can't do anything with because Tom King ruined the Flash. This is illustrating how he's still ruined. Even though I know Scott Lobdell's going to try, he's going to do his best to try to make Flash a hero again, to show us the heroes inside. We don't need that. We already knew that. Jeff Johns, one of the grandmasters of comics who's alive today, and he's at DC, and he used to be the chief creative officer, and he should be running the ship. This guy is literally, if there was a modern day Jack Lee or Jack Lee, I just said Jack Lee, Stan Lee or Jack Kirby, if there was someone that you were like, who modern day person could fit on that level, that we'll look back 40 years from now, we'll look back and say, it's Jeff Johns. He's right there. And he gave us Rebirth. He took DC out of the ashes. They were dying. Didio was just murdering DC. And Jeff Johns said, hold my beer. And not in the way that that's normally meant for. He came in, he just wrote one issue of a book, bloop, and all was fixed. It was utterly astounding. And then you watched Rebirth come up and you were like, oh my God, DC's rising from the ashes. This is amazing. And then Dan Didio came, that's enough. I will not be, thwarted by some upstart. Jeff, you go off and write your Shazam. Meanwhile, I will take over from here and look what's happening. Bring on the Bendis, the Herald of Destruction. Let Tom King run rampant. Destroy the Flash that I hate. So, meanwhile, Flash gets really awakened by one of his villains, and he's like, how is this possible? Your collar. He's wearing dampening collars. Everyone in prison wears dampening collars so they can't use their powers. And he's like, oh, shit. And then another villain joins in. And, hey, props to Brett Booth. Look at the cool comic action. Look at that dynamicism. This is what we like in comic art, right? But boom, Flash is fighting. And he's like, there's no way to survive this, even if I wanted to. And bam, they're beating the shit out of him. And then they smash his head. Of course, this would probably kill you. But you're a fallen idol, the worst kind. And they're kicking the crap out of him. And they're like, way less fun than I thought it would be. And then his collar breaks. Bad news, boys. Huh? And then he starts beating the shit out of him. You crushed my dampening collar. Oopsie, mistake. And so he's beating the crap out of him. And then all of a sudden, Tempest Fugit shows up. And he's like, funny, no matter how many times I convince myself I want to give up, you cannot, because there is still some fight in you, Wally West. Clearly I was right to risk such damage to my immortal coil by journeying all this way. What? Who are you? I am Tempest. Whoa, easy. So Flash goes to help because Flash is a good guy. You think your actions have disqualified you, but people everywhere have regrets, recrimination, rage, revenge, loss, and hate. Nexus points where a world's destiny might change. All of this is shunted to the dark multiverse. Wait, you mean... Yes. The place of decay, entire worlds, real, but fleeting, you see. They are meant to break down, to be swallowed by the dark. Until now, one dark world refuses to die. And then he responds in this, listen, all this sounds very important, but I can't help you. I can't help anyone. We need the fastest being in all of the universe to save the worlds affected by this cataclysm and ultimately destroy the anomaly causing it all. Sorry, not interested. Even if I had the skill set to travel between universes, and I don't, I've tried the hero thing, and a lot of people are dead because of me. Sorry, T, you picked the wrong guy to save the worlds. I just want to frickin' smack Flash right now. Human, you have only glimpsed the power you wield since you've become unmoored. Unmoored? What do you mean? No more time for words, Flash. I did not make myself clear. I was not asking for your help. What? It is your destiny to serve the cosmos. Too fast, even for me. What did you... My uniform. All will be made clear. Good journey, Wally West. Hey, get back here. I am here. You are the one who is leaving. And he gets sent away. And we get to this page. Whoa. Stay back, citizen. Who are you? What's happening? I am President Superman. I must not fall. Oh, look, it's Black Superman. And that's it. Next issue, Hell to the Chief. And that is Flash Forward. So, I gotta be honest with you. This comic is not bad, right? It's a fine comic. The problem with this is the foundations that it's building on. And I see Lobdell is trying his best. But Flash is a broken character. It's this. We're gonna see. I think what Lobdell is gonna try to do, and it's not a terrible idea, is try to have Wally West Flash ascend. This is where I would go. This isn't where I would have gone. I would have fixed Flash. With the multiverse thing that got described here. One of the cool things that I have to praise DC for is that they're actually doing continuity that matters. All of the stuff that you read here comes from Metal, which was like over a year ago, all right? The big event that Scott Snyder did. And Scott Snyder in that introduced this whole new cosmic material where it talks about the dark multiverses, and that's where you get the Batman Who Laugh. These worlds are supposed to decay from entropy, but entropy doesn't exist anymore because the forge thing that destroys these things, whatever, is all broken down. It's all explained in metal. You simply explain that the Wally West that was in Heroes in Crisis is the Wally West from the dark multiverse. And that the speed, what are they called? The Speed Force that Wally was trapped in. If you remember Jesus, my brain is just terrible right now. The DC Universe Rebirth #1 that started it all, and they pulled Wally out of. They didn't pull our Wally. They pulled the dark multiverse Wally. Because the thing is, in the dark multiverse, all that still happens. And then you'd say, oh. And so he's still kind of Wally. He's just a corrupted, messed up Wally from a dark his multiverse was never meant to really exist. Like they explain in this book, it was all meant to go and decay, and it didn't. And so then you have a story where it's like, we got to find the real Wally West. He's still in that Speed Force somewhere, right? But now people know. And there you go. There's a whole story there, and better writers than me, I think, could do something with it. And you get Wally West back. But here, I think what Lobdell's probably going to do, at least it seems that way, is have Flash ascend, or Wally ascend being the Flash. We'll have Barry Allen be the Flash going forward, and Wally West will be something even bigger than that. Some sort of cosmic Flash, maybe. I don't know. Not a terrible idea, but the problem is it doesn't erase the stain of what Tom King and Didio did. My idea erases the stain by changing what it erases the stain by making it so that what you thought you saw isn't actually what you saw. You saw something different. And so Flash was never corrupted. It was just smoke and mirrors. Anyways, so I enjoyed reading this for the most part. It's a very standard fare comic. It's got the villains wanting to beat the Flash, Given the material that they've had to work with, the art by Booth elevates it. It's an okay book. I'm not going to hate on it, but I am going to hate on all the foundations that led us here and the continuity that DC is allowing to happen, that this book should never exist. So if you're interested, I guess read it. I don't recommend anyone buying it because you support Heroes in Crisis. So I recommend you just tell DC, big F you and not buy the book. But for more of like voting with your wallet ideas, not because Scott Lobdell's doing a bad job or Booth's doing a bad job. It's not their fault really. It's just a terrible situation for everyone. And anyways, that's my video. That's my thoughts on the book. I hope you got something out of it. Thanks for watching. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.